Just with that, if you, I can see that with that example, but what if you accidentally fell and were left paraplegic or quadriplegic? I could see that that would be the cause of great unhappiness to someone.
If you fell, for a start, if you fall off of a building or you have any accident, there is a soul-based law of attraction event going on first. So it's not just the law of gravity that created the event. Does that make sense? So the way God's laws work is that it's very, very hard for any person to just be breaking a physical law, right? Just be breaking a low-level law. For example, let's have a look. I have an accident. Why do I have an accident? Well, there's a law of attraction. So there's an attraction occurring based on my soul condition, right, that created the accident in the first place. So, for a person who's become a paraplegic through an accident, there's got to be some soul conditions going on, an unreleased emotion in their soul from their childhood that's created this trigger of the accident. Does that make sense? And if they dealt with that emotion, they would no longer feel unhappy, and ironically, their body would probably recover from the accident completely. So your body is totally able to recover from every accident. You are able to heal a person with paraplegia. So for example, if you're in harmony with God's love all the time, in other words, at one with God, you are able to heal a person who has who has any form of paraplegia. Does that make sense? Any form. So if that's the case, then it means that having a negative result from an accident has to do with something being out of harmony with love in the first place, inside of the soul of the person. Does that make sense? Or inside of the soul of others that are being affected by the event. So even for an accident to occur, there has to be a law of attraction operating upon the soul condition of the individual before the accident occurs. Now what I'm saying is, if you could isolate the soul condition, if you could put the soul condition aside from a moment and say the person has a perfect soul condition, and then they fall off a building, now would those two events even occur? No. Probably not, right? Because it's impossible really. But if that could happen, then you'd only break the one law, which is the law of gravity, and it would have no effect on you emotionally. Because emotionally, you'd be fine with it. Does that make sense? You wouldn't even feel the pain of it, actually. Right? But where the pain comes from is the soul condition that created the event. That's where the pain really comes from. And the soul condition creates a law of attraction, which then is the cause of an event, and that causes the effect, which is there to help you address the soul condition. So one of the things I would feel if I fell and became a paraplegic was maybe one emotion I would feel would be feeling confined and powerless. Well, that would actually be the emotion that created the event in the first place. That would be one of the emotions that created the event in the first place. In other words, I didn't deal with a feeling of powerlessness from my childhood. Does that make sense? So you can't look really at any of God's laws in isolation. But can you see how a soul-based law of attraction, was operating upon a soul condition, whatever the condition is, my fear of being powerless, that creates an accident, right? And the accident had a cause. The cause was not that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but rather there was something in my soul condition that attracted the entire event in the first place. Right? That was the cause. And if I address the cause, then the effect can disappear. So if I address the cause, which is this powerless feeling and all these other feelings, then I can actually recover. And if I'm connected to God as well in the process, I can recover completely. So you could actually, if you were in the position where you were growing towards God, and you were growing towards a one-ment with God, and you were involved in this process of receiving divine love, you could actually have an accident, because you're still not perfect. You could have an accident. That accident could cause a physical problem in your body, which you personally can heal by becoming at one with God in the process. by actually addressing the underlying soul emotion that created the accident in the first place. There's a lot of feelings of confusion. So talk to me about them.